Sometimes I honestly don't know what I'm doing with my life. Like, I have these skills and accolades and knowledge, but I feel confused because there's a plethora of them. I am a screenwriter, I'm a director, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a designer, I'm a shower room singer, newfound entrepreneur, lover of music and philosophy. I enjoy baking and cooking. I love finding new recipes. I was also an art director where I would design key visuals and ad materials for clients, a creative director for startups and online personalities, author, a video editor that enjoys tennis, and now now somehow wants to compete as a powerlifter in the next 3 years. Anime lover that is in her cosplay era, who would like to pick up learning how to play the drums again, because I used to play when I was younger. But more than anything, I am a professional procrastinator. Thank you. Um, it's all made me very fragmented because what do I do? What do I focus on? There's this pressure to become one thing. We hear it all the time. What is your niche? Who are you talking to? If you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. But what if I am everyone? I'm the many things, the jack of all trades, as they call us. Um, it's really left me genuinely unsure and almost crippled because I end up giving a lot of my time and attention to most, if not all. And as a result, I'm unable to really improve on one craft or hobby or interest. And then before you know it, a year, 2 years have passed, and 2020 was 10 years ago? What? And then you wonder, what have I done with my life? Guess who's about to lose her mind? This gal over here. This gal. Bumble. Jesus. Okay. Welcome to me and my imaginary friends. I'm glad you're here. I don't know what it is I'm doing most of the time with this whole life thing, honestly. The one thing I do know is that I do not want to spend life doing what I don't want to do. I want to commit my time and energy into doing what it is I am meant to do. And it's funny. Okay, so I'm about to put on my writer's hat for a second, so just hear me out. When you write a protagonist, you have to figure out what they want versus what they need. Most times, the protagonist is blinded by the shimmer of their want because it's what they think they need or it's what other people have told them they need. But then their journey always becomes how they discover their true need. And needs are almost always intangible. Patience, courage, self acceptance. Wants, on the other hand, usually look tangible. Winning the prize, getting that job, getting that guy or that girl, the title. One lives in the action and the other lives in the being. The character will never realize the deeper need until they go through the journey that you, the writer, have set for them to embark on. That's me right now. That's us right now. For me, I know what I want. The tangible. So become a showrunner from my West African fantasy series that I'm writing, host Me and My Imaginary Friends podcast, become an entrepreneur, be a provider for my family. Those are a few of my wants. But I'm going to hopefully use this podcast to discover what it is I actually need, go through that journey. The only way to do so, I think, is to love the questions, to live through the questions until we find our ways to the answer. That's essentially what's being a human being is. There's this book I came across, How to Fall in Love with the Questions by Elizabeth Weingarten. She says that in times of uncertainty, maybe what we most need isn't the new answer, but it's the new relationship with our questions. So instead of rushing for clarity or chasing a neat path, we should sit with the questions and let them teach us something. That hit me because maybe this podcast should be about me learning to love the questions I have and then wrestle them with you together. So I'm thinking if I offer more questions than answers on here, just know that that's intentional. My hope is that in embracing them, maybe we can discover our own bespoke answers when the time is right. Earlier, I mentioned I'm going to be using this podcast to discover what it is I actually need. Something that, lives in the intangible. Maybe that's letting go of fear. Maybe it's refusing to shrink myself. Maybe it's just showing up anyways. I don't know. And I'm not going to pretend that I do know. But here's what I do know. I didn't start this podcast randomly. I started it for 3 reasons. One, because for a while now, like a good few years, it's been on my mind to create a podcast, which at first I thought was just another thing to add to the pool of things that I'm doing, until I realized that it could actually squash my second reason. Fear. Haha. Haha. Why is Mickey Mouse here? I don't know. Now most people, we all have fear of failure. The thing is, I have failed so many times in my life that I'm more surprised if I don't fail. Over the years, I've come to learn that failure is just evidence that you keep pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. So no, I do not fear failure. What I do have is a fear of looking stupid, a fear of being watched and seen and then judged for it, or having people make assumptions. Like, I really do not want to sit up here and look stupid. I just don't. It's a terrifying thought. But hey, we know we can't control people's perception of us. I know that. Even with that knowledge, we still try to, by being so curated that we lose all sense of authenticity. The knowing and the doing is typically where I struggle. I know what I need to do. Do I do them? It's another question. Well, that's where my third reason comes into play. I am pushing myself to just do it. Like, afraid, unprepared. You can see I have my phone here as my mic, guys, not my actual mic that is not working. But just do it. By the way, shout out to Nike, to the creative agency that came up with that tagline for Nike. Just do it. If that isn't a precise summation of what we should be doing to intentionally live our lives, I don't know what is. So here I am doing it finally, talking to you, whimsy and all, with my little butterflies. My sisters actually told me that they can't believe I'm finally doing this, because they know where I am coming from mentally with regards to my deep-seated fear. So no, I am not doing this fearlessly. I am in fact doing this fearfully, sweating bricks right now. I'm actually recording this the day it's meant to be posted, because I just couldn't get myself to record it, even though I had a whole month. Procrastination for the win. Oh, who was that? Oh, thank you, Blushy, for your input. Haha. That must have been quite jarring if you're listening to the audio version of this. So to visually guide you, in my hand is one of my imaginary friends. His name is Blushy. He was the one that spoke earlier with the squeaky voice. I don't have a squeaky voice. Yeah, you do, Blushy. No, I don't. Okay, but what did you tell us? Can you say that again? I said procrastination for the win. Ha ha. Haha. Right. Okay. Thank you, Blushy. Where were we? We were talking about why I'm doing this podcast, or how I'm doing it pretty fearfully. At the end of the day, life always exists as a two-sided coin. There's this Igbo saying, Chinua Achebe speaks on this in his book, Things Fall Apart. It goes, Ife kulu, ife akudebe kwaya. I hope I didn't butcher that. I'm Igbo, guys, so this would be quite embarrassing if I actually butchered that. You did a great job. Oh, thank you, Blushy. Such a sweet friend. What it means is, when one thing exists, the other exists beside it. Nothing stands by itself. Things are not intelligible because they exist. For existence itself requires justification. Just like good and bad, dark and light. So if there's fear, there surely is victory on the other side. This podcast is me flipping that coin until it lands on the other side, whatever that looks like. I do not know what victory looks like, but I have an idea of what I would like this journey to feel like. There's this other quote I absolutely love. I do love me a good ass quote, by the way. So if you have any, please tell me because I love quotes. It goes, to conduct an orchestra, you must turn your back on the audience. You must turn your back on the fear of judgment. You must turn your back on the naysayers and anyone whose opinion is to shrink your light. And a big part of that audience is the old version of you, watching and listening as the music that is yet to come plays by you. I'm not going to pick one lane, and I don't think you should either. You are literally the conductor of your own life. No human being on this earth can love or care for you more than yourself. And love and care is doing things that align with your heart. Whatever skill or talent you have, how are you using it? And it's okay if you have multiple interests. Then hyphenate yourself. If anyone asks, are you a writer or a baker or a power lifter or a cosplayer or a drummer? Yes, that's what you need to say. Yes. Love each of your crafts so fully that you become multilingual in your creativity and that you become very fluent in all the many versions of you that exist within. With the diverse skills that I have under my belt, I am choosing not to reduce myself to fit a certain box anymore. I just won't fit. I'm just not one thing, and neither are you. So instead of shrinking yourself into one label, what if you leaned into being a whole damn buffet? What would be on your buffet? On mine, you ask? Well, you're gonna see me continue to world build and write my West African fantasy series, The Once Before, while also passing knowledge I've acquired from both my degrees and my real life experience as a writer. So yes, I am going to be teaching you how to write. But more from a place of honesty and not really technique, because I think there's a lot of people out there that do really good technique teaching. I think mine comes from a place of like heart. So if that's what you're into, then where have you been? Hi. On this same buffet, you find and learn about the philosophy of life, because I don't think we can isolate our talents from our purpose. They are one and the same if we can somehow find a through line. As a creative, creativity is purpose, and living through your passion is why we're here at all. You're the conductor of your own life. Turn your back on the audience. Can I ask you a question, dear friend? What story would you like to tell the world today? And more importantly, what story are you telling yourself? Thank you for spending time with me and my imaginary friends. Until the next episode, good morning. Good morning.